Hey everyone, this is Luke, and I'll be taking you through my week 5 to 6 breakdown. My reference for this week was Final Fantasy, specifically Final Fantasy 15. These beautiful boy band characters. the Towards the end of my time, I was doing my time in week 6. I was doing X-Gen stuff, which was a bunch of realistic hair, and Academic Phoenix Plus really helped me with the eyebrows and flipped normals with the rest of the hair, but in the end, I really got a feeling that it really reminded me of actually the main character guy right up in front here of his hairstyle. Taking a step back from week 6 though, in week 5, I continued modeling my character. I extruded more belts and belt buckles and all the other details and everything that I needed to sort of get the low poly version of him ready. The low poly version of him ready for modeling the head. The head, the initial sculpting, as it says here, I created back in week 2 of CPS. But I then grabbed that model and imported it into Maya, and as you can see in the bottom photo, it has thousands of polygons. So I reduced it, and then after reducing it, I made it into a live model, which means things just stick to it. And then I used the quad draw tool to draw my own faces back onto it, as you can see in the center 3 images. Which in the end makes a much more clean topology layout, which was really a lot easier to attach to the body. Although there was still a huge difference in amount of vertices, in around the neck of both the head and the body. But I didn't find Chase Profaka in the teams really helped me with a video, which taught me this cool trick, which was how to sort of turn 3 vertices into 4. So initially, as you can see in my first here, there was mismatching amount of vertices. Then you delete those 2 faces, and then you select the edges around those 2 faces that you deleted and extrude them inwards. And then you can grab the outside 3 vertices as shown in the bottom right image, 1, 2, and 3. You can grab those 2 vertices and stitch them back together, and the 2 middle faces you can just fill whole, or you can use the bridge tool, and the final outcome is the very, very bottom left here. And if you look on this really low-res picture of this character, yeah, you can actually see the shapes of the things I did around the neck here. Moving on from attaching the head, finally we get to week 6, where I smoothed the character and then used a bunch of edge loops to pronounce different aspects of his body, such as the belts or the armor on his shoulder and arms and around the boots. I think it came out really well. Looks super duper clean. Moving on, this was the most aggravating part of my week was X-Gen, this tool I had never used before. Essentially, you start off by selecting the mesh that you want to paint hair onto, kind of. And once you select the mesh, you can paint white onto the mesh, and this is an area that will apply hair, and black, which will completely ignore hair. No hair will be on there. And then after that, you can go around and place a bunch of splines, or little guides is what they're called. And these guides have multiple little parts on them that you can move around and sort of sculpt into the shape that you want. As you can see on the right image, I have sort of little clumps of hair. And speaking of clumps, once you place guides in a way that you like the hair to be, you can use the clumping modifier, which will clump hair into specific shapes and stuff, which look really great. After clumping, you can use the noise modifier, which will mess up the hair. You can get anything from a crazy afro to me on a humid day. Moving on from X-Gen, I finally actually began rendering it out for this final submission, and I think he came out really, really beautifully. You'll see that the hair looks absolutely nothing like the the viewfinder. It actually has lots of little splines of hair, and it looks really good. I'm really, really proud of it. It's the best character model that I've never made a character model, and this is the best one that I've made. Moving on for here, I have a close up of the head of Arenda. Unfortunately, I'm not a pro at X-Gen, so there is one part of the head that I left a little bald spot, and you'll have to forgive Eblis. He's a little bit self-conscious of his bald spot. No, but I did fix it right after this render, unfortunately. But yeah, that's sort of the culmination of my 6 weeks of work so far. What's next for the next week? I'm pretty sure we're on break next week, so I'm probably just going to rest and play whatever video games I have in my back catalogue. Alright, here's to the next couple of weeks.